Welcome to our third math online lesson for grade 5. This is Ms. Fatima Bilhaj, and today is April 9th, 2020. Now, last time we stopped at question number 12. Jana and Razan went to the bazaar. Jana bought 2 ice cream cones for $7.35 each. Razan bought 2 buckets of popcorn at $5.6 each. How much more money did Jana spend than Razan? There are a few important keywords I need to pay attention to. First one is the word each. It means that she bought 2 ice cream cones and the cost for each cone was $7.35. So I have to add here first. And I'm going to do the same thing for Razan. And next, I will have to deal with the more money that Jana spent than Razan. That is to calculate the difference by subtracting. First one is Jana. She spent 7.35 plus 7.35, and that is 14.70. Next is Razan. She spent 5.60 plus 5.60, which is 11.20. And last step is calculating the difference between the two amounts that Jana and Razan spent. That is, how much more money did Jana spend than Razan? So start with 14.70 since it's greater than 11.20 and subtract. You will get $3.50. Okay? Now for question number 13, we need to calculate the difference between each pair of numbers. And I will show you now a video on how to place the decimal point in its correct place and all numbers in the right place values. Let's start first with 66.4. Okay? Write it first on the top, and then look for the decimal point of the second number. Write it under the first number's decimal point and place 71 on the right, place 25 on the left, or 71 in the decimal part, 25 in the whole part. Some of my students now think like I should write 1 down there straight away. That's wrong. I should first place a 0 to subtract correctly. Now let's borrow from 4. 4 will turn into 3 and 0 will turn into 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. And 3 minus 7 is not possible, so 6 will turn into 5 and 3 will turn into 13. 13 minus 7 is 6, and so on. Now, for the second question, as you can see, 13 has no decimal point, so I'll start by writing 13 first, and then I will look for the whole part of 12.05, which is 12. So I'll write 12 under 13. Then I will place the decimal point. Again, I cannot subtract until I write the zeros in the decimal part of 13 in order to subtract correctly. Now, what's 0 minus 5? That's not possible. We cannot borrow from the neighbor, so let's borrow from 3. So, the answer is 0.95. Before we move on to the following question, we need to define one important word, which is inverse. So what do we mean by the inverse? The inverse of an operation can be thought of as the opposite of that operation. And we use the inverse when we want to find a missing number in an operation. I have listed a few examples. Let's have a look at them. For the first example, a number plus 5 equals 7. One can think of this mentally and tell me the answer is 2. That's alright. But when the numbers are a bit bigger, I have to think of the inverse. Applying the inverse, 7 minus 5 equals 2. So the answer is 2. Then, 6 plus a number equals 60. Again, the inverse here would be applying the subtraction, which is 60 minus 6 equals 54. So, 6 plus 54 equals 60. Third, 77 minus a number equals 10. When I apply the inverse here, I will remove 10 from 77 in order to know what is that number. When subtracted from 77 equals 10. So 77 minus 10 equals 67. I will fill in with 67 in the first gap. And last one is a number minus 100 equals 312. I can think of the inverse here as adding 312 to 100 in order to know what is that number that must be written at the beginning. So 312 plus 100 equals 412. I will fill in with 412. These are the four differences of inverses in addition and subtraction. When the missing number is written first and when the missing number is written second. I need you to pay attention to that. Now, let's move on to the following question. Now complete each number sentence. I have chosen 4 different questions and I will show you how to do them through the video. You can see for the first one, 110 is obviously less than 697, so the operation must be addition. Let us apply the inverse. 697 minus 110. So adding 587 is the answer. The second one, as you can see, 39,000 is smaller than 42,000. So I must have subtracted something. Now let us apply the inverse. Alright, 42,111 minus 39,564. One minus 4 is not possible. I will borrow from the neighbor. Eleven minus 4 is 7. 0 is not possible. I'll borrow from the neighbor. 10 minus 6 is 4. 10 minus 5 is 5. And 11 minus 9 is 2. And 3 minus 3 is 0. So, subtracting 2,547 is the answer. So, as we saw in the first question, I had the case of the second number being missing, and I'm adding. For the second question, also I have the case of the second number being missing, and I was subtracting. Okay, now let's move on to the following set, which is 1,250. Unknown operation equals 1,226. As you can see, 1,250 is greater, so I must have subtracted something. Let us apply the inverse by subtracting 1,250 minus 1,226. Ten minus 6 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, and 2 minus 2 and 1 minus 1 are both zeros. So, subtracting 24 is the answer. As you can see, 31,000 is way bigger than 77. So I must have subtracted something. Okay, so let us apply 31,177 minus 77. Well, you can think of this mentally. The answer is 31,100. So subtracting 31,100 is the answer. So the answers are the numbers shown in the red color. Looking back at our worksheet, we will find out that we have worked out together this question, number 12, number 13, and number 14. Next time, we will start from question number 15. Take care, guys.